Okay, so here's something that's interesting. I feel like I'm really starting to understand the value of um YouTubers. I'm starting to understand the true value of like black video essayists for a couple of reasons. I think to explain an argument and have all of this like research that you've compiled. So it's not like the video, I wouldn't call myself a video essayist necessarily. I feel like maybe I'm working toward becoming that. But the big idea here is like, instead of just having like some one off idea and then like going with it, they have an idea, like a concept that they're like, oh, maybe this is something that I see in the world. And a lot of them are pulling from like multimedia, social media interactions to create like whole storylines, right? That a lot of us are following and kind of able to unpack in ways that I feel like we weren't able to unpack before. And you might be like, what the hell do you mean by that? Here's what I mean. Like, I can follow T with B and understand like, first of all, like what some rapper did, like why he did it, all of the evidence pointing to him doing this, and then even like interactive feedback about what other people said about what that rapper did. If because I'm not necessarily looking for character flaws, but I do follow the channel, and if there's some headline that seems like, ooh, this is something that I feel like I've also seen, how do you say, like instances of in society. I feel like a lot of like the rap guys are, how do you say, like role models for bad behavior. And so when you're wondering where this bad behavior that you might come across in normal society, or like where does it come from, it probably comes from something that they did. So like watching those videos gives you a pretty good idea of like, oh, like where did these other guys get it from. And then you go like see what the rapper did and you're like, oh, that's why they did it. And then you're probably right. You're probably right. Anyway, the one instance though that's coming to my mind here is Julian Steve is about to come out with a video that's about Kodak Black's anti-blackness. And he has a whole bunch of tweets by Kodak Black in the thumbnail that are explaining how like Kodak Black has called himself. He says I'm black, but I don't like black women, or black women are Dutch, or they're shitty or something. Whatever he said, something that is to the effect of like black women are bad, and that's why I don't want any black women. I need a bad bitch. This is what he says. He's like, I need a bad one. I need a baddie. And then he gives all these examples of colorism to prove his point. Now, um, I am not. I wholly support Kodak Black's stance. I don't want to change his opinion at all. I think we should all look at Kodak Black for what he said and take him at face value. Now, the point that I am trying to make here, and it's a point that I feel like I've actually been making since the beginning of this channel, like producing more. Okay, so like some black woman gave birth to Kodak Black, some woman, I don't know where she is or what she's doing or how she feels about that, but like she actually might be on board with it. Like it's really ridiculous, but a lot of these black mothers are. But just know that like, and it isn't everyone. Like in order for him to get to a place where he has established like a perspective on a group, he would have to have some interaction with that group. Like you can't really just like get a full perspective of members in a particular group of people that you don't like know. It's kind of like the whole thing where I think it's a lot like things are so misinterpreted about black women. It's like, but y'all don't know any black women. And so I don't understand how you have all of these like ideas and stereotypes about black women who you don't interact with. You've never spoken to. You don't have any stories about. All you have are like secondhand stories of other people saying this and saying that. And the really weird part of this is you have these like rappers who are like so mega amplified, right? Like they are traveling all around the world. They're getting on every stage and they're telling all of these stories that are about like the dehumanization of black women. Like this is the commodity. This is like the American soil. It's the American way. But just the point that I'm trying to make here is like, I think we should all thoroughly support this. We should put like the American flag behind Kodak Black and give him the microphone and let him say to the world, like, I am America, like, I am a black, I'm a nigger, like, I love it, I hate myself, I hate black women, I hate all of these things, right? So that we can all see it for what it is, because nobody's forcing him to say that. I don't think anyone is. I think that's how he truly feels in his real heart. And I just being on the other side of that, I feel like, as just a black woman walking through the world, I see these type of guys out every day. And it's like when I shared another video on this channel where I was just sitting at the bus stop, right? Some black guy just comes up to me and just starts yelling, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I've never met this guy a day in my life. He just starts yelling at me. I haven't said him. He doesn't know my name, nothing. And then this is at a bus stop, right? And I'm like, sir, back up. I don't know you. And then I kind of walk away from him. So I proceed to get on the bus, right? Then I get on the bus and another black guy says, I saw what happened. And he tries to rationalize if there were two sides of this situation. He was like, oh yeah, no, I saw what you guys did. I saw you guys arguing. There wasn't an argument happening. Some crazy some black adult male just started yelling at me because he thought that was like his right? Like because I am a black woman, he was like, I have the right to yell at her. And the other black men were like, yeah, this is cool. It isn't cool. Like, it isn't acceptable. And I feel like the only way that we're going to get rid of the problem is by getting rid of the problem. And I'm not trying to say this to be evil, but I'm saying it to be serious. Like, this is why I support black male abortion. I think if you're a black woman and you are about to birth a black male, you should just stop. Just stop. What I do think is that we should let Karens have the black males. That's honestly how I feel at this point. I think they should go be happy with Kendall Jenner's, let all the sports players go date Kendall Jenner or what are some other really great Kylie Jenner, I don't know. I wish I had more examples of what I don't know. Miley Cyrus, I guess. I don't know. Whoever the girl is who's now the person. Well, Chris Brown, go date. All of those men should go date all of those women. And I think collectively they should just be very distant and very separated from black women. They should be in a different part of society, which I feel like that is actually what is happening, except for I will say this. If you are a black woman and you are in a space where you are surrounded by people who are in that same mental state as Kodak Black, where they don't see your value, they have maybe called you a name, or they keep talking about your blackness like it is a plague, or it is ugly, or that you are ugly, or that you are worthless, something basically to that effect. And they might he was giving some example. There was some tweet that I read and it was talking about how black women are dank, or maybe I'm conflating two things, because there was another video that was talking about by these twin brothers, and they were talking about, so there's a black woman who's in the car and she was like, why is it every time all these black men, they get in my DMs and they always want to take me to drink or smoke? That's all they do. They just drink or smoke. That's all they do. That's the activity. I don't want to do that activity. I'm not interested in those activities. This is what the black woman says. And then these guys start analyzing that and they're like, yeah, but that's what niggas do. They just smoke and drink. That's what they do. That is the activity. They don't really do other activities. And in my mind, I'm thinking well, that's weird. That's, I don't know. That's strange. I will say doing certain friendship activities, going to parks, taking walks, going hiking, going to theaters, bowling, things like that. Those are pretty normal, fun things to do with groups of people. If you are maybe more introverted, or you just have a very small circle of friends, I don't know who you would do those things with, but that's okay. It doesn't mean you don't have to like those things, but definitely maybe normalize, if you are going to date someone, not smoking or drinking with them. That's probably, maybe do other activities that don't involve that, or even Netflix and chilling. I think I think there's something that's happened in society where people believe that like a relationship is simply just going, how do you say, maybe like having a social interaction outside of something behind a keyboard is like going to someone's house and then like hooking up with them, and that is the social interaction now, as opposed to like actually doing something out in the world. Like it is really important to, if you are trying to meet someone, to like actually do something out in the world with that person. um like that is a thing. This is another reason why I keep saying like it's probably really important to just like go outside, like have dinner outside of your house, because being a member in society, being a part of the world is important. It just is. And I know it feels like maybe it's like such a stretch, or like I guess it's, you haven't seen that many examples of it before, but it is a real thing and like you should do it. But also, if you are a black woman who is like smoking or drinking all the time and you're like physically stinky, like when you smoke, that shit gets into your hair and like you need to wash that out. If you're also a black woman who's like consumed with like false eyelashes and heavy makeup and a whole bunch of weaves and all of these things that are like taking away from your natural beauty, you actually might be dank. Like, is your hygiene bad? Do you physically stink? Do your clothes stink? Like, do you wash your clothes? Like, if those things aren't a part of like your normal routine, you actually might be smelly. And there are some black women who are out here who are like that. I wouldn't say it's all or most, but like there are definitely some. There are definitely some. Um, but I think Kodak Black is being weird because he's trying to make it seem like all black women are like this, which is like that's where the issue arises. It's like I feel like we all don't. There's one society, okay, and that one society is full of all types of women, all types of black women, all types of white women, all types of women just in general. And when you have like these gross over representations, like, you know, in his life, clearly he's come across a whole bunch of like dank black women, which is sad. I wish that Kodak Black had more exposure to like normal black women who like, you know, shower and who smell feminine and who, you know, aren't only smoking and drinking or something. Like, I wish in his life he had that, but it seems like he does not, or he did not in the past, or whenever it is, right? And that sucks. Like, I'm sorry that that happened to him, but um, that's still not really a that's not really a reason to be, maybe I don't know. There's probably a lot of people who could look at this particular channel and say that I am anti-black. I do feel like I am anti-black male, so which is, it is, that's a very weird place to kind of sit, because at the same time, like, I work with black males. Some of them are decent, and like I even like consume some, not all, some of like FD signifiers content, or like um Julian Steve's content, and they are black males. They are literal like black males out in society in the world. I think that they represent like a very normal sentiment. Like, I understand, I empathize with, I see them. They feel very casual to me. Yeah, I think that like, how can I like say this? I think that um I don't know, man. I guess like what I'm trying to say is like YouTube is an interesting space, right? Because we have some really, really worldly black creators on here who are using their understanding of like editing, of diction, of writing, of just kind of like analytical thinking to share whole video essays and ideas about the world and society. And like you can, it's almost like you can chat with these people in kind of real time by like watching their videos and consuming their content. Like I saw a video by Kidology last night. I think it was like the Men Are Lost video, and I really felt like I was talking to a friend. Like a lot of the things that she was saying, from like, the fact that she moved from, the fact that she, went to go see the Barbie movie on a whim, but it wasn't like a life changing movie, but it was a good movie. I really felt the same way. Just seeing other people like that are it's refreshing, and I think it's normal and it's necessary. You do get to a place where you see too many examples of like hypersexualization, or too many examples of just like dehumanization or gross exaggeration of one type of story, and then you start to like think that like certain things are patterns that like are not like it is a real problem to not be able to see someone as an individual when in fact they are an individual. um and here's another thing that I do want to say. Actually, I'll save this for another video. I'm going to end this one and I'll make another video to talk about this.